Hi, Year 12. So, good morning. Well, it's morning for me. It probably isn't for you. You're probably laying in bed till goodness knows what time. Um, but it's morning for me. Trying to squeeze in a little video before the small person gets up to be taught human body. So interesting. Might have to switch to science. I'm loving it. Why do we poo? Was yesterday's topic. Hilarious. Anyway, yours is slightly less hilarious. Today we're going to look at somebody called Porter and his ideas. He went to Harvard Business School. He was a professor at Harvard Business School. We better listen to him then. And we're going to look at his strategic matrix. It's kind of another one of these matrices. That's the plural for matrix, by the way. And what we're going to look at is his ideas that businesses need to have one of three generic strategies. I can see the smart ones amongst you thinking, well, how do three strategies fit in a matrix? Well, I'm going to show you two different ways that people like to sort of look at his thoughts. Oh, and that reminds me. As you're watching this, maybe watch it first. Some of you, I can tell from your notes, you're watching this and kind of making notes as you go. What I suggest you do with this is watch it, then go back and decide what form you want your notes to look like, okay? Because I think it's going to be too confusing to try and add it all in at once, okay? And I will allow time for that as part of the lesson, okay? But this is all about how do businesses gain a competitive advantage, okay? Very few businesses have no competition, okay? So when you've got competition, how do you get the advantage over your competitors? And Porter suggested that if you don't adopt one of the three main strategies, then you're not going to be able to compete. So what we're going to do is look at two different ways that people present this sort of theory, okay? I'm going to flip you down now. Let's see if I can do it. Yeah, there we go. All right. Okay. And yes, I did bring my keyboard home. Okay. So sometimes people look at these three different strategies on a triangle, okay? And what they said is, well, Porter said, it's a man, Michael, look him up. He said that businesses could go for a number of different ways. Cost leadership, okay? They can keep their costs really, really low, try and achieve economies of scale, maybe by using technology, and try and gain a big market share. This is what I mean about it being a bit complicated, yeah? And I would say a good example of cost leadership would be somebody like Primark, yeah? They are able to reduce the costs because they're doing, maybe because they've got good technology or because they're doing such mass sales that they can then reduce their prices and sell more. That is one strategy. He then suggested that there's another strategy, differentiation. And with differentiation, that's, making your product or service different from everybody else's. So focusing on quality, focusing on customer service, focusing on branding, which then adds value and you can charge higher prices, okay? The final of his three generic strategies he suggested was segmentation or a focus, okay? Now, these tend to be associated with niche marketing, having a narrow segment of the market, really understanding your customers and giving them what they want, so therefore they're loyal, okay? But these will be more of a small market. Oh, I didn't give you a differentiation. Let's go Waitrose. Oh, if only I could go to Waitrose. Oh, that's the one thing my son is apparently missing. Is a little trip to Waitrose where we go and get some treats. But, you know, they're definitely not cost leadership, are they? Yeah. Waitrose relies on its differentiation. Yeah, the fact that they have better quality and great customer service. Yeah. So, segmentation. This is more about niche marketing. So having a smaller segment of the market, understanding our customers. So we might have someone like Ferrari. Okay. Looking at it in a triangle, though, we're kind of missing out the fact that if you go for the segmentation focus, you can actually split that down into these two categories. Okay. So actually, an easier way to look at it is this. And this is why it's better looked at in a matrix. So what we look at is competitive scope. So is there, this is like the size of the market basically. Is the market has the market got broad scope or narrow scope? So is it, a mass market or a niche market basically, okay? And then we've got competitive advantage, okay? How are we achieving our competitive advantage, all right? So I'm going to put competitive advantage there. We can just about see that, good. And is our competitive advantage based on keeping our costs low, okay? Or is our competitive advantage based on our differentiation? Okay, and then we can look at actually 4 different strategies. So we've got our cost leadership. I've written it smaller so we can fit it in. I hope it fits in. That was what we talked about. You know, those economies of scale. Those it's got a massive market. Yeah, we're selling to lots of customers, but we're keeping our costs low. We're achieving economies of scale so we can charge lower prices. You know, the example of Primark still stands, yeah? I'm just going to, if I do that, will that work? Yeah, soz about this. It's not the best, is it? Oh, actually, that works quite nicely. Okay, staying in the mass market then, if you're focusing on differentiation as your strategy, okay, as in terms of how you're going to achieve a competitive advantage in a mass market, okay, but actually you might then decide to go for something like Waitrose with their good quality service, their strong branding, okay. And then we've got our narrow markets, our more niche markets, yeah, that we talked about before. So we're selling to less people, and we've got a focus, okay? But our focus can either be cost, okay? So just because we're in a niche market doesn't mean we can't do things cheaply, okay? So actually, I found the example of Aldi, depends where you live, but actually they don't sell to the same numbers as Tesco's, yeah, or Asda, all right? But they sell a focused range of products at cheap prices, okay? And then we've got differentiation focus. So still here we're operating in a more of a niche market. We've segmented the market, so we're selling to fewer people. We're going to have really loyal customers because we understand them and we're differentiating for them. Okay, so we might have, for example, Ferrari. I'm not 100% happy with all my examples there. I think you can come up with better ones, which leads me to my task. I would like you to please make sure that you've got notes on this theory, okay, on Porter's strategic matrix or Porter's generic strategies. That's what it's called, okay? How do businesses approach achieving that competitive advantage, okay? And what I want you to do is to make sure that you understand these different, I think it's actually easier to learn it like this as opposed to the triangle. But what I want you to think about is what these 4 different strategies would be. I want you to think of some example businesses that do it, okay? I've given you one to start you off, yeah? You need to think about whether it's a mass market, yeah, or more of a niche market. Think about the percentage of population that is buying the products. Yeah, so I'm not overly keen on that one because I think they're budging this way. Maybe I don't know. Have a little think. And then what I want you to do is to think about what are the pros and cons of each of these. Okay, so you might want to say, right, cost leadership. You can achieve economies of scale. Yeah, gain a big market share, use technology to your advantage, something like that. Okay, so you might have to consider how you're going to lay this out before you start. Okay, you might want to draw the diagram and then add in the notes afterwards. Okay, I want to see plenty of examples, please. Then that will really tell me whether you've understood this. Okay, if you could try and use oh, actually no, because if you're doing niche markets, you can do companies I've never heard of, but it does mean I'm going to have to Google them. But that's okay. I don't mind a bit of learning. Oh God, you're really close to me now. Let's move you away. Oh God, the sun is blinding. I mean, it's nice, but it's also, yeah, like that, maybe. Okay. So yeah, that, I mean, this video is like already 12 minutes long. So by the time you've watched this and then you've gone through and you've made notes and you've looked up examples and put all of that together, that is about an hour's worth of work. You can refer back to your revision guides. It's actually written out. They don't put a matrix in there for you. They just actually write about it. But I tell you what, the pros and cons are nicely done here. Okay, so you can use that to help you. And it talks about the segmentation strategy. Okay, don't worry about this bit yet. Okay, we're going to come on to this later in the week when we look at some different theories. Okay, and if you have a little bit of time, look up Porter. Okay, Harvard Business School, Michael, and have a little look at him and see what else he wrote. Okay, this is the kind of thing that what you're going to drop into your answers. Okay, so when you're looking at exams, for example, you might be given a particular case study and you could say, oh yes, and this company is definitely using the cost leadership strategy, as mentioned by Michael Porter. It's that kind of understanding these theories so that then you can use them in your answer. Okay, you're never going to have an exam question that asks you to draw this matrix out, but you need to understand these different strategies so that you can talk about them in an exam situation. So be really clear about the different strategies. Examples are going to help with that understanding, okay? And reading a bit more about Porter, especially for those of you who are going to go on to study business at uni. You will study Porter in lots of different ways. So I think that's plenty to keep you going until later in the week when we will have a look at some different theories on competitive advantage. So yeah, Porter, let's go peeps. My son has a whole range of, they're called learning muscles at his school. So don't give up, try again. We've got our own now. Let's try hard turtle, everybody. I mean, he's too cute, isn't he? Focus fish. Okay, focus. Cost focus. Anyway, please work hard. You know, stay safe, get some exercise, get some sunshine. Yeah. Bye. This is not getting any less weirder. Neither am I. Bye. Miss you. Bye. Trying to find the stop button now. I'm doing that end of the video face, man. Yeah, all right, bye. Okay, bye.